about this equation. Basically, we used Bernoulli, and we end up with this form. Okay, now this we call that this is an energy equation, but a very important fact here is that we have derived it for isentropic flow. So this is our assumption that the flow is isentropic. Okay, or whatever the process is there, that is isentropic. Based on that assumption, this derivation, this equation has been derived. Now we'll look at shock in a few lectures. So what we'll realize is that shock is not an isentropic process. There is a change in entropy. Entropy increases when a flow passes through a shock. So I cannot apply these equations to a flow where shock is present. So that is what you have to be careful about. Okay, so whenever you have any equation, you should be clear about the applicability. So where it is applicable, what are the assumptions, and where it is not. Moving on. So again, I think this also we cleared. So anyway, we can go through it once more. So this is coming from your energy equation. This is H plus kinetic energy, assuming that potential energy change is negligible. So that's what H. Enthalpy plus kinetic energy is constant. That is what it is. And CPT I am writing in this form. Okay, this again we have derived in previous lectures. Please go and check. So if I combine these two, I can basically, if I substitute Cp by T into here, okay, instead of Cp by T, CPT, I can write gamma by gamma s1 into P by rho. So if I do that, this energy equation changes to this form. Okay, now if I talk about stagnation quantities, okay, so if I say that V1 is your reservoir conditions, okay, so this is, let us say this is reservoir, this is your flow. So what is the velocity in a reservoir? 0. So this will become 0, this will become P0 and rho 0. So then you will get this equation. So this is the same as this, only this term is removed because velocity is 0 inside a reservoir. Now this can be applied to shock. So nowhere we have assumed isentropic conditions. So hence this can be applied to a shock. Okay. Now if I also, we know that a square or speed of sound square is gamma p by rho. Okay. Now if I apply it to this equation, then I obtain this one. So this is again one relation that we'll use in later derivations. Okay, so what we are doing is v square by 2 plus, instead of gamma p by rho, this factor, this term, this I am replacing by a square by gamma minus 1. That's it. And left hand, right hand side, we have only this term. So we are writing a naught square. A naught is the speed of sound inside for the reservoir conditions. Okay, so these are the results that we are going to use in later slides. Okay, now let us talk about reservoir. So basically what we are interested in, that let us say that we have a reservoir or a large tank. Okay, so the assumption is that the tank is quite large, such that the change, even though some leakage is there, the change in pressure and temperature are negligible. Basically we are maintaining the same pressure, density and temperature. Now can anyone tell me what will be the velocity here? V naught?
0.
0. So we have just use it to put it in equation. But in a reservoir, we assume that the velocity is 0. There will be some velocity here, okay, near the leakage. But overall, in the whole domain, velocity is assumed to be 0 because it is a very large reservoir. So even though some leakage is happening, there is not much change in properties of the inside gas. Okay, now this is the equation that we have derived previously, basically your energy equation. So we are talking about change in kinetic energy, and CPT we have written in P and rho forms. Okay, so this is your kinetic energy term, and instead of enthalpy I am writing in terms of gamma p and rho that we have seen in the last slides. So that is why I'm telling you, go and revise those slides, so you will be more comfortable in using this derivation. This subject has a lot of derivation, so that will come by practice. So please revisit those slides and revise that derivation. Okay. Now, this is the general equation we have. Now I want to derive or modify this equation for this condition. I want to use it for a reservoir and basically leakage through a reservoir. So I'll say that instead of 2, I will write A, which will stand for atmospheric conditions, and instead of 1, I will add 0, so which will correspond to reservoir conditions. So what will happen to V1? This will become 0, right? So if I do that, I can write velocity like this. So basically, I have taken this term, and this is P2 has become PA, P1 has become P0. Okay, if you look carefully, this is the same. Okay, within the bracket, this is the exactly what we have. Okay, now this is 0, so we have V2 square is equal to this. So if I take 2 that side, it will be multiplied by 2, which is here, and this is V2 square, so I'll write V is equal to root of this. Is it fine? So basically, what I'm finding here is that if I have a big tank, or let us say a big cylinder, if some hole is there and some gas is leaking from it, what will be the velocity of that gas? Okay, in terms of conditions inside the tank, that is what is known, right? I know what are the conditions are present inside the tank. So based on that, I can calculate what is the velocity, escape velocity of gases that are coming out. Now let us say that outside ambient is at vacuum. Okay, this is not discharge at atmospheric pressure but at vacuum pressure. So what will happen to this equation? What will change? Anyone? It is very simple. Here we are discharging at atmospheric pressure. Now atmospheric is changing to vacuum. PA is equal to 0. So what will change here? This will go 0. Right? People are corrected or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if I change this to 0, velocity will be, this whole term will go, this will be 0, 1 minus 0 is 1. So I'll be left with only this. So this I call Vmax. Okay, because this is the maximum velocity you can get when it is vacuum. The pressure cannot go lower than vacuum. It cannot go negative. Absolute pressure, the minimum is 0. So for that, I'm getting Vmax is equal to this much. Right? Now this term can be also written in terms of velocity, speed of sound, which is A naught to the power 2 gamma by gamma square. So basically gamma, this term, gamma P naught by rho naught is equal to A naught square. So square is coming out, it will be A naught, and this is what is remaining. Fine. Okay. Now for incompressible flow, this is the,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
Sir, the
Yes.
previous slide. Sir, there we calculate velocity, and their velocity will change due to position change.
Position means what? So basically, I'm talking about, let us say that there's a very big tank, there's a hole in that tank, and velocity is from here. Okay, it is not that liquid is filled, this is on gas. If you have a liquid filled, then the velocity will change with time. That is not happening here.
Okay.
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 Fine. So, okay, now let us compare some compressible and incompressible equations. So for incompressible flow, basically this is your Bernoulli equation, and we have velocity in this form. So if the flow is incompressible, this is the relation for velocity, or Vmax will be root of 2 P naught by rho naught. Okay, this again, for Vmax, I am putting P is equal to 0, atmospheric pressure is 0, so it becomes 2 P naught by rho. Fine, this is directly coming from your incompressible Bernoulli equation. Everyone is okay with this? How I got Vmax?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we have also got Vmax for compressible flow in the last slide. So this is the Vmax. So can you see the difference? So if you assume compressible or you take compressibility effects into account, this is what you will get. If you say that a flow is incompressible, then this is what you will get. So if you take the ratio, divide this by this, or you can say Vmax compressible is equal to Vmax incompressible into this. So this factor is coming, gamma by gamma minus 1. This is the extra factor if you account for compressibility. Otherwise, these two equations are same, right? Or if you take gamma is equal to 1.4, you will see that Vmax of compressible is 1.9 times of Vmax of incompressible. So what it tells you is that generally sometimes people do some calculations. They assume that they take simple equations. They for some calculations people can take incompressible assumption and calculate. So if you do that, if you have a compressible flow and if you wrongly assume that it is incompressible, you are ending up with an error of 90%. Okay, so just to like be clear and to appreciate how much compressibility, what is the difference caused by compressibility effects. This is what it is. About 2 times you will predict if you assume incompressible. Okay, now let us compare these equations for compressible and incompressible. So for velocity, we have this we anyway discussed in the last slide. For compressible, this is the equation. For incompressible, this is the equation. Now, if I take V by A naught, okay, so basically I'm dividing this by A naught. So this is what I have for compressible and this is what I have for incompressible. Okay. So this is just to compare. Then we'll make use of these equations in next slides. Now, sorry. So now we say that we'll talk about mass flux. So this is if you say this is a mass flow rate. Okay, M dot. Mass flux is mass flow rate divided by area. So this is your mass flux, mass flow rate per unit area, which is rho by rho into V, and which is basically I can say this is constant divided by A. Okay. Now we see that this mass flux is proportional to, it is inversely proportional to sectional area of the stream tube, which is A. Right? And these are the equations that we'll use. So this anyway we had in the last slide. These are the relations for isentropic flow that we have anyway discussed many times now. How P, gamma, and T are related. Okay, for an isentropic flow. Now, now if I want to find rho V, so rho V is of interest here. I want to find how much, what is the maximum flow rate I can obtain for a given reservoir conditions. Okay, so we'll go to that first. We need to find rho V in terms of these variables. So we have V by A naught. Okay, I will also so using these equations I can derive rho V into rho naught A naught is equal to this much. Okay, this is again coming from these equations and what we have studied for isentropic flow. Fine, I am again leaving this as an exercise. You can try it if you are able to find it. Otherwise, we can discuss again in next class. Okay, so this is basically a ratio of rho V and rho naught A naught. Okay, where rho naught A naught are your reservoir conditions and rho V is whatever the mass flow is leaking out of that tank or reservoir. Moving on. So for isentropic flow, we have got these equations. Okay, this we have seen in the last slide. This again we have seen the last slide. This all we have discussed previously. Okay, for T naught and rho naught. If you go back to your previous lectures, you'll find derivations for this. Okay, when we have talked about T naught in terms of Mach number. Okay, now if I plot this in terms of how it varies with P by P naught, this is how it will look. Okay, so V by V naught. So let us say that P by P naught is 0. So it means that the outside pressure is 0. So there we'll have maximum velocity, right? So this is your V, plot for V. And then the another extreme is when P by P naught is 1. What it means is that the outside pressure is equal to your uh, outside pressure is equal to reservoir pressure. Ambient pressure and reservoir pressure are same. So what will be the flow rate then? Any gas will come out or not come out?
No flow.
No flow. Okay, so basically we are saying that. So basically this is a reservoir. I am saying that outside pressure is same as here. So the flow will not happen. Flow needs some delta P. So if you see this velocity will be 0. So this is coming to 0. Right? Similarly, rho V by rho naught A naught. This is varying as per this equation. And this is a maxima at this point. We'll talk about this point in a few minutes. Let us look at other variables. So T by T naught. So T naught is approaching, T by T naught is approaching 1. What it means is that if your outside pressure is equal to reservoir pressure, then temperature will be equal to reservoir or stagnation temperature. And it will keep on decreasing as we go, as we decrease the pressure. Okay. And then rho by rho naught. So rho by rho naught, basically this is this equation is what has been drawn here. So all this graph are made by using this equation, which you can maybe use Excel or MATLAB, you can draw and check yourself. So anyway, so rho is as you can see, this is decreasing for zero pressure because the velocity is so high, rho is decreasing. But as you go increase pressure, the rho also keeps on increasing, and then finally it reaches the this reservoir pressure. Reservoir density. Okay, so if you keep on increasing the pressure, the density increases, and finally it reaches reservoir density. So we have plotted for temperature, velocity, rho density, and mass flux rho V, normalized by rho naught A naught. Okay, now what we see is that this mass flux, this is maximum at this P star, which is P by P naught is equal to 0.528. So we will talk about it in more detail in next slides. Any questions on this plot? Or this is fine? Okay, moving on. So what we observe from this plot is that at P is equal to P star, okay, at this particular pressure where you see the dotted line, rho V is maximum. Okay, rho V, this plot is maximum. This is not very clear in this graph, but when you look at the exact plot, this is maximum. Secondly, area is minimum. So basically you are talking about a stream tube. So if your velocity is more, because of continuity, area will be less. And another interesting thing is that your velocity approaches the speed of sound, or m star for this P star we refer to other variables as star. So m star is equal to 1 here. That is one very important point for this star, P star. Okay, P star basically we call critical critical pressure. Okay, that we'll talk about later. Okay, now we're talking about mass flux. Okay, so this is. Can anyone tell me where this is coming from? What equation is this? This you have seen many times. We have started the class with this equation. Now can anyone tell?
Bernoulli answer.
Yeah, this is compressible Bernoulli equation, right? Now, if I differentiate it, what will happen? VdV into dP by rho. This integration side will go. Or I can say, if I take this to RHS, VdV is equal to minus dP by rho. Okay, this is this parameter I'm taking to RHS. Or I can say, if I multiply rho there and bring back dV here, So rho v is equal to minus dp by dv. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want my mass flux to be maximum. What is the maximum mass flow rate I can extract from that reservoir? So for rho v to be maximum, can I say that? And what is the variable? Variable is dp. dp is the only parameter that I can change. So I will say that I will differentiate rho v with respect to dp, and that will be 0. That will give me maximum of rho v. So if I differentiate, I can write it like this: rho into, I am differentiating by parts. So rho into dv plus v into d rho is equal to 0. Is this fine? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now can I write like this? V d rho by dp is there, and instead of rho dv, I am writing 1 by v. Can anyone tell me from where it is coming? So this is the term we have, and we have derived here that rho v is equal to minus dp by dp by dv. Can you see here? This is dp by dv, this is dv by dv. So reverse of that. So if I reverse it, it will become minus 1 by rho v is equal to dv by dp. Can I write like this?
Yes, sir.
So I have dv by dp, which is here, and rho is multiplied. So if I replace it there, rho will get cancelled, and I will be left with minus 1 by v. Fine. How it has become minus 1 by v is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I have this relation. So can I write, if I do some rearrangement, I can write dp by d rho is equal to v square. Can I do so?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. But I know that dp by d rho is a square. This is when we define the speed of sound. So can I say the velocity has become equal to the speed of sound? Or I can say that for this critical conditions where p is equal to p star, I say that v star is equal to a. V star has become equal to the speed of sound. Fine. This is what we have derived for rho v to be maximum. So I want this to be maximum. For that, I have differentiated and I have obtained that for your mass flux to be maximum, what I need to have is I need to have v star is equal to a. Okay. Now let us talk about critical values. So as I mentioned that for p star by p naught is equal to 0.58, what we have in the slide, we define critical properties. So we replace p by v star, which is equal to a. That is what we saw here. V star is equal to a. So we have these equations. If we replace, so this is what we have, right? Now we know that v star, instead of v, I will write a. So it will become a by a naught. This is what is replaced. Okay. Now I know that a is equal to gamma RT. So if I substitute it here, what will happen is a is gamma RT, a naught is gamma T naught. So gamma and R will get cancelled. It will become root of T by T naught. Okay. And this RHS term will be same. Fine. Is it clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now animation is not working. Anyway, so this we have got in the last slide, T by T naught for critical conditions where P is equal to P star. Now, for isentropic flow, I know that T by T naught is equal to, this can be related. This is true for any isentropic flow, and this is also equal to a by a naught square. This is how we define velocity of sound. So using that, I can say that P by P naught is equal to this much. Basically, we are using this equation and we are using the relation what T has with P. So instead of T here, I am writing P to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. That's all. And there's a square root here. So I removed both the square roots. So I have whatever is the quantity in the bracket, that is what is written here. And equal to, instead of T, I have P, right? Now, in this, if you do simplifications, you will end up with, instead of P, I also write P star. Okay. So with some algebraic manipulation, I can get P star by P naught is equal to 2 divided by gamma plus 1 to the power gamma by gamma minus 1. So this is one important relation for critical pressure. Again, I will suggest that you give it a try. If you are not able to derive, I will help you in the next class. Okay, so same, you just need to take these two relations, substitute it here, this you will get. Then if you simplify, doing some rearrangement, you should be able to obtain this. Okay, instead of PA, one more thing is, instead of PA, you need to write P star. So we are talking about critical conditions. So our outside pressure becomes star. That's it. So if you replace it here, you should be able to get P star is equal to this much. Fine. So this is, in this way we will define our critical properties. So we have defined critical pressure. Okay. Now, using critical pressure, we can also define other properties. Okay, so we know that from isentropic relation, how density is related to pressure, how temperature is related to pressure, and how velocity and speed of sound is related to pressure, right? This all we have derived in isentropic relations. So using all that, we have just derived relation for all of them. You people are getting this or not? I know how density depends on pressure, and I have derived the relation for pressure for critical conditions. So simply I will replace that with density. Density I will use. Okay, let me go back. So for example, temperature. I know that temperature, if you people don't understand, ask me. Otherwise, I will assume that you are clear with that. Okay. So for example, I know that this is how temperature varies with pressure. This is the relation between temperature and pressure. Similarly, for isentropic flow, we have derived how pressure is related to density, how this is related to velocity and all that, how pressure and velocity are related. So using those relations, I can derive critical values for density, temperature and velocity. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we know that for air, gamma is equal to 1.4. So if I replace in this equation, I do write gamma is equal to 1.4 and calculate, I will get these are the values. So if you have P star by P naught is equal to 0.528, this corresponds to your critical conditions. Similarly, we have different values for density, temperature, velocity by speed of sound, and mass loss rate. Okay. So now what can you infer, or what can you say? Looking at this slide, any new additional information can you convey, or any new insight can you say? Let us talk about this. So let's say that I have a large tank, okay, and I have some leakage from the tank. So how can I use this equation for this scenario? Anything you can comment on this tank? What we have discussed. So when we derive for P star, yes,
Maximum discharge, sir.
yes, correct. So when we have a reservoir and when we have a leakage scenario like this, so maximum discharge or maximum leakage of mass will happen when this outside pressure is 0.5 times of P naught. Okay, and using these equations, whatever is shown here. Okay, not this equation. This is only related to gamma. Using the previous equations. So, for example, we have equations in terms of Mach number. We can plot how your temperature, density, and this mass flow rate varies with respect to pressure. Okay, so here you can see that this is your critical pressure conditions. So in this plot you can clearly see that this is your mass flow rate. So mass flow rate is maximum at P is equal to P star. Okay, so if you go either if you increase the pressure or decrease the pressure, mass flow rate decreases. Can anyone tell me why? Why should I get a maximum if I keep on increasing the pressure or decreasing the pressure? Shouldn't I increase see an increase in mass? Why a maxima is coming? Can anyone explain? Let us say I keep on decreasing the pressure. So we have a tank. Okay, this is not very what do you say, intuitive. So we have a tank, some leakage is there. Let us say I keep on decreasing the outside pressure. Okay, shouldn't I get very high mass flow rate? Or let us say we have derived initially that if outside is vacuum, I am getting the maximum Vmax. Why not?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you told that the P by P ratio will be 0.58. That will give the maximum discharge.
Yes.
But sir, you have told that initially we have considered that it's a vacuum. That will give
Yes.
not the maximum velocity.
Yes, it will
Because
give.
one minus that V is a relation of one minus, huh, sir. That will
Yes,
give P.
that's what I'm coming to. So I have said that outside, if it is vacuum, you'll have velocity to be maximum, right? That is
Yes,
what we
sir.
discussed. So that is what you can see from this plot also. Where is the velocity? So this is V by V max. So you can see the solid line. V is equal to V by V max equal to 1. It means velocity is maximum for pressure 0. That is true. But still, mass flux is not maximum there. Mass flux is actually 0 there. It should not be
Sir,
0.
if P by P naught, you have derived that is for the critical, sir, critical velocity.
No. That was not critical. That is maximum. Okay. V by V naught. Okay. Let me explain. So when I say V is equal to V max, then outside is ambient is vacuum, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is what we are seeing here. But this is for maximum velocity. Now I am not concerned about velocity. I want mass flow rate. So what are the two components of mass flow rate? Density and velocity. Right? So look at how density varies. So if you see, yeah, this is your density plot. So if you see density also is, no, density plot should be like this. Anyway, density actually is something wrong here. Density actually should be more and it should decrease like this. So basically the idea is that for maximum flow rate, okay, I should get rho v which is to be maximum. Not only v maximum, I want rho v to be maximum. Right? That is what we differentiated. We differentiated rho v with respect to p. If you go back to that slide. So we differentiated rho v with p. Okay, we did not for rho v to maximum. What you are talking about vacuum means that v is maximum. Okay, I'm not worried about only v. I also need to consider rho here. So for rho v to be maximum, where is that slide? For rho v to be maximum, we arrived at v star is equal to a and p will be equal to p star. Okay, that is what is happening here. Sorry. Are you clear now? So mass flux is maximum here, velocity is maximum here. That I don't care, but I care about density and velocity both. The product of density and velocity is giving me a maximum here. Is it fine? Okay. So if you look at this, so velocity is increasing like this and decreasing there. So rho is also following the same trend. Yes. Yes, any question? So Vmax is for pressure is equal to 0, but rho Vmax is for pressure is equal to P star at this location. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
This is important point because V is maximum here, but at that point rho naught by rho is maximum also, or I can say that rho is minimum. Okay, rho is minimum, V is maximum. If you multiply, you will get a small mass flow rate. If you have very high density but very low velocity, that is also not good. So optimum is in between, where you have rho V to be maximum, there I will get maximum mass flow rate. Fine. Now, for this, I also define characteristics Mach number. So this is the equation that we have previously for velocity. Now, instead of what I do is, let me divide it by v. Let us divide the overall equation by v. So I'll get, instead of a, I get a by v square. Velocity will be removed, so it becomes half. And here I have a star, so this will be a star by v whole square. So now I'm basically, the previously derived equation I am writing in terms of velocity and speed of sound. So finally I get in terms of Mach number. Okay. So this will become 1 by m square, and this becomes m star, 1 by m star again. So using that, we can get m square is equal to this much. Okay. So this is called characteristic Mach number. M star is characteristic Mach number, which is present for P is equal to P star. Okay. Now a very interesting property that you see is that M star will also behave similar to M. Okay, but the difference is that, okay, let us look at this. So when M is equal to 1, M star will be also equal to 1. You can substitute in this equation. Okay, you can try it and see if M is equal to 1, whether M star is going to 1 or not. Okay, let us put this as an exercise. So basically, if you put, let us say that if this is a 1, this is gamma plus 1 minus gamma minus 1. So gamma gets cancelled, 1. Okay, 1 minus 1. So it becomes 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So M is also 1. Right? Are you getting this or not? You people are with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm just telling you to try one example. Let us say if M star is equal to 1. So if we substitute it here, what will happen is, this is gamma plus 1 by M star. So this will be this will become 1. So it will be gamma plus 1 minus gamma minus 1. So gamma and gamma will get cancelled. We'll have 1 minus minus 1. So it becomes 1 plus 1. 2 divided by 2, it becomes 1. So for M star to be 1, this also becomes 1. Right? Similarly, you can check if M star is less than 1, M will be less than 1. If M star is more than 1, and will be also be more than 1. So they show the same behavior. But one major advantage is that when m will go to infinity, m star will go to gamma plus 1 into gamma minus 1. Okay, so m star will remain finite even when m goes to infinity. So that is one major advantage of deriving equations in terms of m star, because it will remain finite. So we can have a more general discussion in terms of m star. Is this clear? See, again, I will repeat. I know that in this subject we have a lot of equations. So I am trying to give you whatever steps is possible, but I will again request that you look at the previously derived equations and try to derive on your own. Then once you start doing that, you will be more confident and it will be much more intuitive to you. Otherwise, these are all just equations. That's it. If you're not thorough with this, if you get afraid, you will not be clear. So that part you need to just practice. That's all. Fine. Any questions on this, or should we move to the next slide? No questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So now let us look at critical values. So, okay, let me go back to. Okay, this equation we have seen now here, or let me. I'm also trying to go back to the root equations. You are able to follow. Okay. I hope we have that. Okay, so this is the equation. So instead of Cp, I can write. I can take V1 square minus V2 square. I can write Cp delta T. Right. This is coming directly from your energy conservation. Okay, so that is what we are using here for critical values. So sorry. Okay, so if I do that, can I write velocity in terms of this? So let us say V1 is 0. Sorry, V0 is 0. So T0 is remaining and V0 is 0. So I can just write root of Cp delta T. Is this clear? How we have got this?
Yes.
Okay. Now I can write Cp in terms of gamma and R. So it will become 2 gamma R, gamma minus 1 into delta T. Or if I want to do Vmax, okay, let us say this is the equation I got for velocity. Now I want velocity which is maximum. So I can also write, what I can do is, previously we talked about pressure. Now let us say that I can change the temperature. So I can put this to be 0 and we can write Vmax as this much. Okay, so that will be a theoretical maximum. Anyway we cannot reach 0 Kelvin temperature. So just for calculations, we can write Vmax is equal to this much. Now speed of sound is gamma RT, and we can substitute V star is equal to A star for critical conditions. So using that, I will okay, so I will write V from here. Okay, now instead of T, I will write T star. That is the only difference here, right? And this will be equal to gamma RT, because velocity at critical point is equal to speed of sound, right? And we also know that T star by T naught is this much. This we have derived previously using relating it to pressure. So I can say, using this, I can say V naught star is equal to A star is equal to 2 gamma plus 1 T star. Okay, because this is the maximum velocity that we'll get for critical conditions. And for air we have gamma is equal to 1.4. So I can derive, again I will just substitute value of gamma here. So I can write A star by A naught is this much, Vmax is this much, and Vmax by A star is this much. Is this clear how we are doing this? Okay, moving on. So we'll now talk about area velocity relation. So basically what we are assuming is that the area is changing with x, pressure is changing with x, and all the variables are changing with x. So we are talking about in terms of x, and again I will repeat that this is quasi one dimensional. This is, strictly speaking, this is not one dimensional, but we can say this is close to or approximately I can call one dimensional. Okay, so I may need 5-10 minutes here. You have any class after this, or 5-10 minutes you have after this class? People are connected or not? Yes, you people have some 5 minutes extra, so I will start. I wanted to finish it once I start. It will take 2-3 slides. So you people have time?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Vinay? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Let me finish it then. Okay, so one simple equation to start with. We'll talk about continuity. So we'll say that rho EV or mass flow rate is constant. Now I can differentiate it with respect to V. So I can write rho AV by dV is equal to, I will differentiate by parts. So rho V into dA by dV plus A into d rho V by dV. Okay. So this is because this RHS is constant. If you differentiate, it will become 0. Or for the last term, I can write, see, this is A into d of rho V by dV. So I can write A plus this rho into dV by dV. dV will get cancelled, so we'll have rho. Then I have V into d rho by dP. Let us just introduce dP here. Multiply and divide by dP. It should be, actually it is V d rho by dV. I'm just introducing dP here. Okay, such that it becomes dP by d rho and dP by dV. You people are clear what I'm doing here? Anyone? Yes? No? See, either you understand or don't understand. So tell me what is the scene so I can repeat or I can go further.
Sir, please repeat.
Okay, so tell me when you are, let me move it and I'll try it again. Okay, so you are clear up to here. First equation you are clear with?
Yes,
Is
sir.
this clear? Okay,
Yes, sir.
now let's talk about this term. Okay, forget about A. Let us say d rho V by dV. I can write it like this. This is the term I'm talking about, d rho V by dV. Okay, can I write it rho? I'm differentiating with parts. Okay, differentiating. There are two properties which are multiplied. So I'm differentiating one by one. So can I write like this? Plus d rho by dV. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now dV will get cancelled. What I will have? Rho plus this much. So that rho is here. Okay. Now I have V multiplied by d rho by dV. So let me multiply and divide by dP. Okay, I can do that.
Yes,
I will add dP both numerator and denominator. So now I can write d rho by dP, and dP by dv. Now it is fine.
Yes.
Term. Okay. Now I know that this is basically this. Let me use and write again. Okay. Now I know the dp by d rho. What it will be? Or let us say if I take rho common from here, will this become 1 minus m square? So if I take rho common from here, it will become a into rho 1 plus d rho by dp into dp by dv. Can I write this as m square minus m square into rho? Sorry, this is dp. Can I write this as m square? I will again say that please go back and look at previous equations. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Okay. So again, I will give this as an exercise. So you try and see. If you are not getting this, I will again derive it for you in the next class. Fine.
Yes.
So let us assume that this comes. So a into d of rho v by dv is equal to a rho 1 minus m square. Okay. Now we know that dp by dv is minus rho v. We have derived it a few slides earlier, and dp by dou rho is a square. Okay. So from that I can say that rho v dA by dv. Now I'll take this whole term. Take this whole term and take this one. What we have got from here. So this is equal to 0. Okay. So if you use these two, substitute it here, you will get this as m square. Just try it once. Okay. So from this equation, what I can say is dA by dV I want to calculate. So dA by dV, if you take all this into the RHS and divide by rho v, you will get again minus a by v 1 minus m square. You want me to do it for you, or can you do this rearrangement? Looking at this equation, can you come to this conclusion?
Yes.
Or you want me to do it? This is okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So what we have here? We have a relation between area and velocity. Okay. So we know now in this figure what how that stream tube is drawn. We see that area is increasing as we go along x, right? So we can say that dA by dx, is this positive or negative? A is increasing with x or decreasing with x?
Increasing with x.
Increasing. So dA by dx will be positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, right? So now we'll talk about two conditions. Either dA by dx could be positive or negative, and we'll try to apply this equation and see how velocity varies. Okay, this is one part. So let us look at some inferences from this. So this is what we have derived in the last slide. Now, for incompressible flow limit, when let us say m goes to 0, okay, and air into velocity mass flux is constant, this will show you the incompressible limit. Or if you basically if you write if you cancel this m term here, so you will get, if you integrate this, you will get AV is equal to constant. Okay, which is basically a continuity equation for incompressible flow. So this is basically a conservation of volume. So when your density is constant, when your density varies, we write rho AV is conserved. Rho AV is constant. When rho is also constant, then I can say that A into V is constant. Right? So that is what we are getting for the incompressible limit. Secondly, now for m between 0 and 1, okay, now if m is less than 1, what will happen? If m is less than 1, this term will be more than 1 or less than 1? The people are there or not there? If m is less than 1, what will happen to this term?
But this term would
One.
be positive.
This term is positive.
Yes.
Okay, and this is negative. So negative multiplied by positive is negative. So dA by dV will be, okay, let me write, for m less than 1, dA by dV will be negative. Right? Now, if you look at the same equation, if I substitute instead of m less than 1, let us say that m is more than 1. What will happen?
Positive.
So this term will become positive. Okay. And let us say that m is equal to 1. If m is equal to 1, then this will become 0.
Yes.
And dA by dV is equal to 0. So we arrived at three
Area
possible scenarios. One is m is less than 1, one is m is more than 1, and m is equal to 1. So if m is less than 1, then a decrease in area. So basically we're talking about how dA and dV are related. So decrease in area results in increase of velocity and vice versa. So basically what we say is if your area is decreasing, so basically it is like this, a nozzle. So if I have a nozzle like this, area is decreasing, right? If we move along x, area is decreasing, right? So if area is decreasing, velocity will increase. And if I have, let us, okay, let me go to, let me draw one more relation, then we'll go to the plots. So we know that rho v is constant. This is your mass flow rate, right? So for constant mass flow rate, I will just take a log of both the sides. So this log, when you multiply, that you can write it as summation in log, right? So log rho plus log v plus log a is constant. And if let us say differentiate, so if you differentiate log, you will get d rho by rho, and this is what you will get. A constant, if you differentiate, what you will get? People are listening or not?
Zero.
0. So that is what is written here. Similarly, which equation is this? Bernoulli's compressible equation.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So if I differentiate this, what I will get? dP by rho plus vdv is equal to 0, right? Or I can say dP by rho is equal to minus vdv. Or if I multiply this by v square, so dP by rho v square is equal to minus dv divided by v square, so 1 v will be left. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now we also know that a square is equal to d rho by rho. This is how we define speed of sound. Now from this equation, if we take dA by A to in the LHS and we transfer these two terms to the right hand side, so what will become? dA by A is equal to minus of this and minus of d rho by rho, right? Now we have derived here what is d rho by rho, we can substitute from here, and dV by V we can substitute from here. Okay. So I can write dv by v as dp by rho v square. Okay. Minus minus gets cancelled. This is minus and this is also minus. Similarly, d rho by rho is equal to minus a square. Sorry, that I will maintain here. So if I take this outside, I take this common, it becomes, this is 1 minus this divided by this. This is what we have. So again, if you substitute a square, it becomes dp by rho v square into 1 minus m square. Again, this you have to practice. Okay. So what we are getting here is dA by A is equal to dp by rho v square into 1 minus m square. Is this fine? You all are with me or not with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what you see here, dA by dp. Okay. Now A, rho, B, these all are positive quantities, right? So the sign of dA by dp will depend only on m square. What is the sign of this? So that also we'll explore in the next slide. So we have two equations. This we have derived for dA by dv and dA by dp. Okay. Now let us say this is your diverging passage and this is your converging passage. Okay. So flow is from left to right. So area change dA by dx is positive for this and negative for this, right? Area is increasing here, area is decreasing here, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now what about dA by dp? dA by dp is here using this equation. So if the flow is subsonic, if m is less than 1, this term will be positive.
Yes.
Okay. And dA by dp will be positive. Fine. This is what we see here. Now, what about this? For this this configuration, m is less than 1, so this is positive, area is positive, but dA is negative, right? dA is negative, so dA by dt becomes negative, right? People are getting or not getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we know that dA by dp is greater than 0, less than 0. Now let us talk about pressure and velocity. So pressure increases because dA by dp is greater than 0, dA is positive, so pressure is also positive, dp by dx is positive, right? Pressure is increasing as we go along this. Okay. And velocity will be opposite, velocity will decrease. So for velocity, we can look at this. So this is dA by dp, this is dA by dv. Okay. So pressure is increasing and velocity is decreasing. We call it subsonic diffuser. Everyone is clear how pressure and velocity are changing? See, this is a very important part. If any doubt, please ask now. Everyone is clear with this or not?
Yes, sir. Please.
Others?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, this is about subsonic diffuser. Now let us look at nozzle. So for nozzle, dA by dp is less than 0. Okay. Now let us look at pressure. So if you look at this, dA is negative and we are still in subsonic. So m is less than 1. This term is positive. This term is positive. This is negative. So what will happen to dp? dp will be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. So dp is decreasing with distance. So dp by dx is negative. Pressure is decreasing. Similarly, velocity will increase. Okay, so if you use the same logic here, m square is less than 1, so this term is positive. This area and velocity is always going to be positive, so this whole terms becomes negative. Okay, now this is negative, dA is also negative, dA is decreasing with x. So this is negative, so this has to be positive. Okay, so velocity is increasing. This is called subsonic nozzle. Okay, so all this discussion was for subsonic flow. Now let us talk about supersonic. So supersonic, what will happen is, till now considered that m is less than 1. So for m is less than 1, this has become positive. This has become positive. Now if m is more than 1, okay, so this will become negative. This will also become negative, right? So now all the discussion that we have, that will be opposite. So when pressure was increasing here, that pressure will decrease here. Velocity was decreasing, now velocity will increase. Okay. Similarly, pressure was decreasing and velocity was increasing here. So pressure will now increase and velocity will now decrease. Is this clear? So this is called supersonic nozzle and supersonic diffuser, so that their role changes. So for subsonic flow, this is a nozzle and this is a diffuser. But for supersonic flow, this is a diffuser and this is a nozzle. So that is one major difference. As you see, these two different regimes, subsonic and supersonic, and this is all is happening because of whether m is more than 1 or less than 1. That is what determines whether a velocity will increase, pressure will increase or decrease. That is governed by these equations, and we have to look into whether m is more than 1 or less than 1. Is this plot clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
We'll stop here for today. I will again suggest that you